Welcome back to the final Grand Prix World video of the day. I'm sorry to drop so many on you at once, but my schedule this week is going to be a little bit tight, so I thought it was best to get sort of round one out of the way. Hopefully you just watch these at your leisure and don't binge watch them. I couldn't understand why you would, but you never know. But yeah, apologies for filling your feed with a bunch of stuff today. We qualified 3rd and 12th. And as soon as I load the game, it's going to load right into the race. So I wanted to take a moment to explain the race strategy for you. Diniz will stay on the soft compound tyre and he will make 2 stops, whereas I'm considering Nakano to be out of position. And, sorry, got a sneeze. There we go. Nakano I consider to be out of position, so he will make a single stop. However, what changed is that we are on the intermediate compound of tyre. The race will begin with light rain. I don't know if this can be expected to continue or not, but we will certainly find out. I'll see you trackside. Okay, so what we want is both of them to try and hold position. We don't want any unfortunate incidents that come from trying to force an overtake, although Diniz goes straight into first position. Excellent start for him. I'm going to leave him on a blocking line, and once they've spread out a little bit, we'll get Nakano to begin pushing. That was an excellent start off the line for Diniz. I really didn't expect to see that. And Nakano's just gained 2 positions. We couldn't have hoped for a better opening lap. What we really need now is to try and open up a bit of a gap with Diniz. I certainly hope that's possible, although the pace seems very, very close at the moment. Nakano drops back down to 9th. Let's see what the gaps are like once we cross the line. It's close. Opening up to about 3/10. Although it doesn't seem from looking at the TV pictures that that's necessarily the case. They seem really close together. I can't afford to stop him pushing. What we do need is to get Nakano making some forward progress. Hopefully without coming together with anyone. Trying to sort of read the diagram here to figure out the spaces to everyone. There's a cluster of 4 cars running very close together, where that seems to be where the bulk of the action's taking place. Diniz drops down to 2nd. I'm kind of okay with that, to be honest. What we don't want is him to fall behind that Benetton, so I'm putting him back on line defense, let's call it. I didn't think, to be honest, we had the long-term pace to match the Ferraris, but we definitely have the pace to match the Benettons, so I don't want them sacrificing positions in that regard. Of course, the problem here is that while we've got him driving defensively, he's going to be losing time to the car in front. I guess it does look actually like Frentzen is opening out a pretty significant gap. Sorry, I'm going to cut the video just a second. And we're back. Sorry, it's this cold. I keep sneezing and you really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it either. Okay, so he's dropped down to 3rd, but you know what? That's fine. I really didn't want to see it. I think we've got the pace, but maybe Hill's running a bit lighter on fuel. Maybe he's stopping in extra time. Maybe they've just got a better car in these conditions. I don't know. Nakano drops to 11th. I think his chances of picking up points are at best remote. I really don't want Diniz to stop pushing though. I really, really don't. I don't see any benefit in easing off at this point, because the bigger the gap we build up to Jean Ales's Jordan, even if we finish 3rd, it just gives us that little bit of a cushion in case we have a delayed pit stop for any reason. Oh, we have our first retirement. That looks like a Tyrrell. Who was that? Juan Pablo Montoya. in his Tyrrell out on lap 3 with what looked to be an engine failure, but won't become clear until the end of the race, I don't think, unless... Oh yeah, it is, engine failure. We are dropping off the back of that Hill-Frentzen fight, although I have to give credit here that the car seems to be performing fairly admirably. The yellow flag has been lifted, and and Deniz is back up to second. That was very strange. It seemed like Hill ran wide there, and Deniz just cut in on the inside. We're halfway round lap 4 of 58, with Deniz in second and seemingly capable of running at the front, if not in first position. He's going to make the car as wide as possible. That increases the risk of an accident, but we just want to sort of buy ourselves a bit of time, I suppose, in second position, see if we can't mess up Damon Hill's strategy. Heinz-Harald Frentzen is pulling out a gap, and I think it's fair to say that he and that Ferrari have made friends very, very quickly indeed. Look at that Tyrrell. That Tyrrell is way off the pace. Also, Sauber continue to struggle. Williams have made no particular gains either. That the 2 for 2 that was making up the second half of the grid has sort of intermixed, but there's a very definite pace deficit. So what's our big concern at the moment? Well, there's no need at the moment to change strategy. No driver has reported any problems with the car. So all we need really is Deniz to keep it on the road at this point, because I think we have pace in hand to Jordan in particular. So the real cause for concern is Nakano, and previously, although I didn't believe it was necessarily the case, we were working on the assumption that perhaps the deficit in his performance came about through being on the harder compound tyre. That's proven to not be the case because they're now on equal compounds. I'm telling him to push and try and overtake Esteban Tuero's Benetton, but they are pinned fairly closely together. There's a battle up ahead between Mika Hakkinen and Alexander Wurz that once they come up on that, maybe that slows Esteban Tuero down, but yeah, we have a problem. We're going to have to bring Nakano in. I'm not going to mess with his pit strategy, but we just want to make sure he gets round. I'm not bothered about anything else, but he has to get round. Usually they will crash out if they go too long without... there we go, he's in the box for a new front wing. That's probably his race ruined. If I'd been quicker, I probably could have tweaked his... Oh, there we go, Esteban Tuero is out of the race. I don't know if that was what caused... Yeah, rear spoiler. I don't know whose fault that accident was. You would suspect the guy with the broken front wing was the one who caused the problem, but seems not. You can see his Benetton there in that bottom left window for a moment. Nakano manages to exit the pits in 19th position, so he's still ahead of that Tyrrell. The Tyrrells are going to be lapped very, very, very soon. I think we need to shift focus completely to Deniz at this point. Deniz has fallen once again behind the Benetton of Damon Hill. Jean Alesi, there is still a decent gap, but he does appear to be closing, so it seems Deniz is losing a bit of time there. I'm going to switch off defensive driving and hope that allows him to focus on making some gains again. I would estimate at this rate that we're going to see the Tyrrells lapped 4 to 5 times. That also unfortunately now includes Shinji Nakano. I'm going to get him to start pushing because there's no way he should be running conservatively when he's got all this open air in front of him. Look how quickly he's pulling out a gap on that Tyrrell. Once we get past the Saubers, I think we'll be we'll only be in serious trouble once we're up to that cluster there with the Williams and the Prost. It's very hard to read what else is going on, though the field is separating out quite nicely. Jean Alesi is running very, very well in fourth. I know he's noticeably behind Deniz, but he's also even more noticeably ahead of David Coulthard in the McLaren. The McLaren's seeming to be not quite as strong as we suspected, which is a surprise. Normally, they're capable of putting together a consistently good package. It's very rare you see them take a massive step backwards. I mean, I guess you could argue it's not necessarily a massive step backwards, but still. Let's have a look further down the order. It gets a bit mangled together. Currently in last place is the Tyrrell, which hasn't crossed the line yet. Yeah, Toru Takagi in the last place. Johnny Herbert is next up for Shinji Nakano, and he's about to be... Actually, we're about to lap that Tyrrell. We are about to lap that Tyrrell. David Coulthard is really falling behind Jean Alesi's Jordan. I don't know if he's perhaps got some kind of issue. It seems very, very odd. Rubens Barrichello as well has had a shocking race, given the position we would expect to see him in. They had obviously a front row lockout for the majority of the qualifying session for this round. Michael Schumacher has managed to get into 10th position, but it's still a terrible weekend for Williams, who've got a lot of catching up to do. Mika Häkkinen's Prost running just outside the points, which will be encouraging for them. Mika Salo's Minardi in 12th. He's ahead of both Saubers and one of the Stewarts. So very, very, very variable performance in race conditions for the Stewarts. As Deniz comes to make his lapping overtake manoeuvre on the Tyrrell of Toru Takagi. Hopefully we don't lose too much time behind him. No, he's already through. That's great news. I'd be very concerned how quickly Shinji gets lapped at this point, because his performance now is being measured relative to that Tyrrell. He's opened up a freaking huge gap to the Tyrrell, but the gap to that Sauber seems reasonably continual. Look how dispersed the field is as well. It's very, very hard to read. I don't think I've ever had an opening race like this. It's incredibly difficult to read. I think we're seeing some deficit in our own performance compared to competently driven Ferraris and Benettons. I don't know why Rubens Barrichello is performing so badly. I don't know why Shinji Nakano has been performing so badly. Jean Alesi seems to be doing very, very well in his Jordan. Coulthard is having some issue, it appears. Hopefully Nakano doesn't get into trouble for ignoring a blue flag. I have to make sure to get him to ease off at some point, though he is very slowly gaining on Johnny Herbert's Sauber. Maybe he can complete an overtaking manoeuvre in the next lap or two, which will be good. Although I think the chance of avoiding being lapped in the first quarter of the Grand Prix is very, very, very slim indeed. What I'm going to do at this point, I think, is pause the video for now, and we'll join again in a few laps' time once we sort of get into the pit window and start to see the field maybe compact together a little bit as the pit window normalizes some cars back into proper circulation. See you shortly. Okay, you rejoin us on lap 14 of 58. Shinji Nakano has been lapped by all the front runners. We've also now had Deniz lap the Sauber of, I believe it's Johnny Herbert. Yes, it will be. And we're currently gaining on the Minardis. I'm not sure why Shinji Nakano is being shown a blue flag for David Coulthard, who's considerable way down the road. I don't believe he's allowed to unlap himself, but he is maintaining a respectable gap to Jean Alesi, who has lapped him. His car is going to start getting very much lighter soon, and we've got to remember he's running with a much heavier fuel load, which I suppose I didn't really account for. he's got some chance to make a moderate recovery, I suppose, because he's only stopping once this round, so he'll be pitting at the end of lap 29. We've had an early pit stop as well, which was off camera. Tora Takagi made his pit stop at lap 12. There we go, lap 15, one of the Stewarts comes in. So they're an interesting strategy. And, oh, that's very interesting. Benetton stopping as well. I don't know which Benetton that was. But the rain has stopped, which means we should now be paying very, very, very close attention indeed to how dry the track is. Johnny Herbert in the pits. Let's keep an eye. It's 22 degrees, which means the track will dry quite quickly. He's pitting in 3 laps time. Is that enough time for him to switch to dry tyres? There's an interesting thought. It's a very interesting thought. That's a Ferrari in the pits. Let's take a look at the standings at least. Deniz is now running first thanks to the pit windows. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen and still pushing. Looking at his lap times are starting to go down quite drastically. I think it could be worth making a switch to the dry tyre, although the track does seem to I don't know the timescale here. I really don't. Normally 22 degrees you expect it to dry out quite quickly, but it doesn't appear that that's going to necessarily be the case. I'd hate this. I mean, the problem is he's not a great driver, so if we switch him on to the wrong tyre prematurely, he's going to really... Yeah, he's on his in-lap already. I'm going to change his... I know he's got... I'm going to switch him to slicks and hope to God that he doesn't bin it. We'll have to get him to stop pushing as well, I think. Where is he? There. Okay, keep pushing for now. Nakano we will leave out until it definitely shows dry. I'd like to be able to keep him out longer than is. I do. If we could have got an extra lap or two, we'd probably be in a very good position. What does comfort me is that if we make this change work, he's going to be a pit stop in hand, because the others will have at this point stayed on the intermediate tyre. The track is still very, very wet though. Well, in he comes. We're now going to find out if that was the stupidest decision I've ever made. We're going to have to tell him to ease off. One of the Jordans has pitted as well. Which is interesting. Yeah, nice and slow, please. Nice and slow. We rejoin in 5th. Down to 6th now. We're playing the long game. We're playing the long game. I'm not going to change Nakano's pit strategy. I was just wondering if maybe we could bring him in as well, make the switch and go from there. I don't think that's necessarily smart. Does he have to keep running slow? I don't know. I really thought the track would have dried out by now. I really do. I'm getting very concerned. Deniz is still showing in third, but down here he's showing in fourth. I have to assume that Jean Lacey is in front of us. Oh, that was fastest lap times. Okay, Damon Hill leads. We know that. From Frentzen, I presume. Yep. Is it me or has it just got dark again? Jean Lacey now sits third. Yeah, we've made the wrong call on the tyres. We've made the wrong call. Or the right call, but far too early. The gap is getting too large between us and them. Oh, we've got another Jordan in the pits. And a Williams is coming in as well. Very strange pit strategies going on. Can I see how many times people have stopped? How Deniz's lap time's looking? Not great. Not great at all. Okay, everyone now has made a single stop. That's something. But the track is just not drying out. It's just not drying out. I don't know what to do about this. It seems stupid to bring him in. It seems stupid to bring him in. At this rate, he's going to have done his entire run, his entire middle stint on the wrong tyre. And the gap to the cars in front is just no good. Please track, dry out, come on. Come on. If I pull him in now and change his tyres, I know it's going to change to being dry and sunny. I know it. I know it. I'm going to leave him on that strategy. I'm going to leave him. He's going to have to suffer in the middle stint and hopefully have those tyres come alive later on when everyone else is pit stopping. But yeah, he's about to be overtaken by a Tyrrell, which is bad news. I don't get it. It's 22 degrees with a fairly interesting wind. Yeah, it's just dried out a little bit. Nakano, need to make sure he changes to the dry tyre. His pit stop's coming up in 7 laps time. I don't know what to do about Deniz though. I don't know. 8th is not great. I'm not happy with that at all. I'm tempted to tell him to put his boot down, but I just don't want him to spin up the wheels and put himself out of contention, which I'm surprised hasn't happened actually. It's kind of testament to his capability in wet weather and the fact that he's not pushing. Nakano is up in 12th, but he's still yet to stop. So his progress has been somewhat stunted as well. I'm going to think this over. Join me again soon. So lap 26.58, and I have an update. Pedro Diniz's race is completely ruined. He has broken his front wing and he ignored a blue flag, which means he's just served a 10-second stop-go penalty. I'm going to bring him in now and hope that we can make this work. I think. Oh, I don't know. How much fuel has he got? That's 39, 49, 52. So, oh, my maths is terrible. 36, 46 plus. Yeah, he's going to be too heavy with fuel. Yeah, that'll do. He's still in 10th. Oh no, he's out of the race. Well, that was a shit show. That was a complete and total shit show. I made a poor strategy call. It's strange because usually the track can dry out surprisingly quickly, particularly in Australia, but it's still soaking wet. I think that means we need to keep Nakano on the intermediate, which I don't like. But bless his heart, he has got himself within striking distance of a point. Very disappointed about Diniz, very disappointed indeed. I don't know how he managed to break his front wing while serving a 10-second stop-go penalty, because I didn't see it before he went in to serve. And I don't know why he ignored a blue flag. I don't think you have to manually tell them to get out of the way every time one comes up, but maybe you do. I don't know. Oh, no, Nakano is out as well. This seems to be a running theme every time we manually control a race. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to fast forward the race now and tell you how it ended. Okay, so the win went to Damon Hill for Benetton. John Lacey took a second position. An excellent race for him. Hans-Hal Frentzen took third for Ferrari. Mika Hakkinen inexplicably put his Prost into fourth position. Johnny Newhouse, McLaren, fifth, and the final point went to Michael Schumacher in the Williams, which had no right to score points based on the performance I'd seen, but there you go. Apparently Shinji Nakano used all his fuel. I guess having him push must have upped his fuel consumption, and I missed it. Normally it doesn't change, but it can, and I should have been aware of that. But he was within striking distance of his pit stop, so that's really unfortunate, and obviously Diniz had an accident with Johnny Herbert. Oh well, Hill leads the Drivers' Championship, Benetton leads the Constructors. I think we have a platform to build upon. I will see you next time, whenever that is. Take care.